Welcome to the Daily's Double Shot. I'm Tarek Walmsley.
And I'm Kimberly Spalding. On this week's episode, Arnold Chon takes us on an inside look to Seattle's annual comic convention.
We take a look inside the national healthcare debate right here on campus.
Lydia Caulfield reports on the UW Baltic Choir's trip to Latvia.
Then Kristy Hamilton interviews Charles Ishimwe on recently winning the UW Global Entrepreneurship competition right here on campus.
Lara O'Neill-Dunne hosts a student panel on the good, the bad, and the rad on marijuana legalization.
And finally, we report on the recent UW screening of the Invisible Children documentary.
All coming up today on the Daily's Double Shot.
Ooh, what is that? Try some candy.
Yeah.
I'll see you there.
Okay.
First up tonight, Arnold Chon takes us inside Seattle's annual comic convention.
I'm Arnold Chon, and we're here at the Washington State Convention Center for the 2010 Emerald City Comic Con. For those of you who've dreamt of fighting crime, traveling through time and space, or defeating a level 78 dragon with the roll of your dodeca dice, Comic-Con is probably your scene. One aspect that brings in the fans year after year are the special guests, with this year's being none other than Stan Lee. If you don't recognize the name, you're most likely familiar with his work. Like Spider-Man, Daredevil, Fantastic Four, Thor, the Hulk, Iron Man, and X-Men, just to name a few. Other big-name guests included Lou Ferrigno, the original Hulk, and the ever-famous Leonard Nimoy, the original Spock. Many collectors found gems in the rough, and best of all, people could wear spandex without getting funny looks. So does Darth Vader know you're here, or just your day off?
Well, he actually told us to come down here, support the Empire, let them know who's boss, Remember, we are working for you, We're not against anybody, we're just here trying to make it a better place.
So I'm here with the Tusken Raider. What brings you to Comic-Con?
We saw an amazing scarecrow. Yeah, he was wicked.
Do you have any wicked plans for all the people attending Comic-Con today?
You'll find out at 6:30.
So was it hard finding parking with your spaceships, or?
Ooh, man, it's a killer. I'll tell you, the parking fees down here are crazy, man. To land a shuttle alone just costs $35. I mean, what's with that? Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, we've been here weeks waiting.
Many people have found us so far.
So what are you guys doing here?
Well, mostly I was just enjoying the convention, talking to various people's, we're planning to go see Stan Lee as soon as we can. Yeah.
You haven't seen him yet?
No, not yet. No, missed him.
Pretty much, yeah. That and we're promoting our stuff, which, is shameful in its own right.
Cowabunga! Emerald City Comic-Con is the largest comic book convention in the Northwest. It's risen to fame among comic book fans and creators alike for its intimate settings, solid comic focus, and good attendance, with this year's numbers well over 8,000. Every year, Comic-Con takes over the Washington State Convention Center in downtown Seattle. So it seems everyone's having fun here, from comic book nerds to absolute geeks. It's no wonder people hoard to Comic-Con every year. This has been Arnold Chon reporting for the Daily's Double Shots.
I wish Superman really existed. Next, Megan Walker will take us to the center of national attention with a healthcare debate held right here on UW's campus last week.
Last week, the UW Law School hosted a panel of professors who discussed the constitutionality of the recently signed health reform bill. The professors in the panel included Sally Sanford, Stuart Jay, John McKay, and Catherine Watts. The bill mandates that all Americans buy health insurance starting in 2014. Within an hour of President Obama's bill signing, more than a dozen attorneys general across the country filed lawsuits on the grounds that the bill is unconstitutional. That includes Washington State Attorney General Rob McKenna. Among the issues raised during the discussion is the absence of young people in the current insurance pool.
I really like the idea that you can stay on your parents' insurance until you're 26. I'm 25 right now, and I'll be 26 before it would really be helpful, but that could have been really important. I had a year before coming here where I had to have that individual insurance, and because I don't smoke and I'm relatively healthy, it wasn't that expensive, but it would have been nice to be able to have better benefits because it was kind of catastrophic.
Statistically, on a population basis, younger people are healthier than older people. So if you have a lot of young, healthy people in a pool, it helps drive down the premium costs. Now, one thing that's important to know about the law that does affect young people is that under the terms of the law, plans can charge more to older people, but only 3 times as much. So that might have the effect of raising premiums for younger people, because right now the range is typically much bigger than 1 to 3.
Stuart Jay is a professor at the UW School of Law. He believes the mandate will solve the problem of getting young people insured.
And so even a young person benefits from being in the system at an early age. I don't know of any young people that really don't want to be insured. They think they can't be insured because they can't afford it, which is true. And that's why the program gives subsidies to people who, like young people, whose jobs don't give them enough money to be able to pay for health care.
Among the changes to the current system include the following. In 2014, all Americans must buy health insurance or face an annual fine of $695, with some exceptions for low-income individuals. Also, insurance companies must now allow children to stay on their parents' insurance plans until age 26.
I've been a teacher, of course, for 30 years here, and I've known lots of students without insurance, and lots of friends of my daughters who are in their 20s haven't had insurance, got into a car accident, or wound up with a serious illness, and they found themselves in an ER, and you quickly adds up tens and tens of thousands of dollars, and somebody has to pay for it.
As the debate continues, young people can only hope for a solution to the current healthcare debacle.
Thanks, Megan. Next up, Lydia Caulfield shows us the inside story of UW Baltic Choir's trip to Latvia.
Over spring break, a combination of the UW Chorale, chamber singers, and combined choirs went to the Baltic.
We were lucky enough to go to 3 countries in 7 days, so it was a very packed tour. We were in Finland, Latvia, and Estonia, and we performed for community choruses, also a college choir at University of Tartu, and a couple of semi-professional men's choruses.
The group and the place made traveling so unique and once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
All of us as students get to just be exposed to something new and different. We get to sing different repertoire in different languages, learn something about new cultures, so it's an educational experience for each of us, but it's also really important for the music department.
Let us pause in life's pleasures and count its many tears.
While visiting the University of Washington last spring, the president of Latvia personally invited the choir to sing at his palace.
We come in and there's these guys with these huge guns walking outside, and I was right at the edge of the choir where the president walked in, so it was just very nerve-wracking, and all of a sudden he shows up and starts talking. I was like, oh, he's a nice guy. It's not a big deal.
It was an especially momentous occasion as the choir sang to President Zietler the day after his birthday.
It was obviously a huge honor for us to be able to sing for him, and just to see that sort of cultural exchange, to be a part of sort of bridging our 2 countries through some of this medium that we all love singing was really quite special.
In this culture here in America, choral music is kind of a exceptional thing, and it only attracts a certain number of people, and unless people maybe go to church or go to a particular movie soundtrack, they won't have excuse to hear choir music. So we kind of, as choral musicians and people who love that, we sometimes feel like we're on the outside in this culture. But then to go someplace where singing is one of the most central things that they do, and they'll have a song festival which 10% of the population will actually go to the concert, and they'll have upwards to 50,000 people in a choir singing together.
Not only feel the culture, but feel how important singing is there was really extraordinarily important to me. I think that many of us had no idea the importance that singing carries in their culture, and after this trip I think we're much more aware that singing and songs are a very important part of the cultures of both Latvia and Estonia.
To see music be that important and to see the difference that it makes in people's lives, I think it gave us more of a value to what we do, and it also inspired some students to come back and to think about singing when they go out to a party or when they have a family gathering. And I've heard students talking about maybe carrying music with them in a more personal way.
If I can take a part of what we saw there into my own life and my own future as hopefully a choral conductor, I think that will really serve me well, especially in sharing with other people and trying to inspire them in the same way.
Just a validation of, yes, music is important, even if we don't acknowledge it as much here in the US as they do in the Baltics. Hopefully we can spread that attitude towards music that they have here.
Thanks, Lydia. Now Kristy Hamilton will report on Charles Ishimwe's journey to winning the Global Social Entrepreneurship competition right here at the University of Washington.
This year's Global Social Entrepreneurship competition had 161 entries from 36 countries. The students proposed creative business plans aimed at reducing poverty in the developing world. Nuru Light, represented by Charles Ishimwe from Adventist University of Central Africa and Rwanda, won a total of $13,000 for his plan to replace kerosene as a light source in poverty-stricken regions.
During the GSEC week, I was presenting the Nuru Light because in Africa we have a problem of kerosene. We use kerosene while we are lighting our houses. So the problem was that kerosene is expensive, unhealthy, inadequate, polluting, dangerous, many bad things. 95% of the households in East Africa, they don't have access to electricity. We rely on kerosene. The children can study because there is a many ways of using our light. You can use as a head or neck lamp, on freestanding, like on flat surface, like on the desk or on the table. It's very nice for the children because they just wear it on the neck and then they use it while they're studying. So the people will be charging the lights as well as charging for the cell phones of the people in the village, because like in Rwanda we charge our phones by using car batteries. So now the entrepreneurs will be charging both cell phones and both pods. So if you can create like 3 or 4 jobs to the people, you find that it's a great opportunity for them to work and live peacefully.
With Nuru Light, families spend just $9.50 per year, resulting in a 95% saving over kerosene. According to the Nuru website, by 2020, Nuru Light could save poor households over $1 billion. By replacing kerosene with emissions-free lighting system, Nuru Light will prevent the release of millions of tons of carbon dioxide and other environmentally unfriendly gases into the atmosphere. 25% of Rwandan households reported kerosene-related fires in the last year, ranging from mosquito net fires to skin burns covering 80% of their bodies.
The money that I work from Nuru, I just pay my tuition and to help my family. So you've seen that there is a crisis of money, but it's not like before. I think my future is only one thing, is to see that in place where I live or in East Africa, anywhere in the world where they don't have access to electricity, they may use other healthy lighting system, either null or not, but they don't use kerosene anymore.
Wow, that's really an amazing story. Next up, Lara O'Neill-Dunne hosts The Good, the Bad, and Rad about marijuana legalization.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Rad, where this week we are talking about marijuana. My name is Lara O'Neill-Dunne and I am pleased to introduce to you John Madrigal, a senior in political science and the director of the UW chapter of Sensible Washington. Tom Martin, a junior majoring in material science and engineering and representing the UW chapter of Young Americans for Liberty, and Andy Marsalek, a junior in political science and treasurer of College Republicans. Thanks so much, everybody, for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we are going to start off with having you explain, in your own words, what the Washington state laws surrounding marijuana use and possession are and whether you consider them good, bad, or rad.
Washington state law currently provides substantial criminal and civil liabilities for possession, growth, use of marijuana. And I would say that the laws, as they're on the books, are, they're bad, they're harmful for residents, for law-abiding citizens.
And would you have anything to add to that?
No, it's just like right now, like medical marijuana is definitely legal, and so that if you have a condition where you need marijuana, you can have marijuana. So
there's a problem with the current medical marijuana laws, though, because you can still get arrested by the police if you're a medical marijuana patient, and you'll be acquitted when you go through the judicial system, but not after you've already spent a fortune going through the system, and it's already on your permanent record. So
it's considered an affirmative defense, I think, is the term for it.
When we're talking about like the UW community, is there any like specific things that those laws mean for UW students, and are those good, bad, or rad?
Well, I would say that what the law specifically means for UW students, if you're using marijuana, you certainly put yourself at legal risks that are far in excess of any health risks, and that these vary depending on who you are. For instance, if you're relying on a scholarship, you could lose that scholarship.
Even at the UW community, like comparing that to like underage drinking, there is a lot of underage drinking and like a lot of marijuana use, and so it's always like a decision by the students to make.
Okay.
I would say that it's still very bad, though, because there's really no reason why we should be putting anyone at risk of not being able to go to school anymore. Education should be a #1 priority, and so like kicking someone basically out of school for smoking a little bit of marijuana is, I think, bad.
I want to find out what's happening right now in the field of marijuana reform law, particularly with I-1068. What will happen if this goes through, and would you consider it good, bad, or rad?
I'd consider it absolutely rad. Initiative 1068 will end all civil and criminal penalties in Washington state for possession, cultivation, the sale of, or the use of marijuana. So
I would say that it's rad too, but I would qualify it by saying that this isn't really the same thing as legalization. It would legalize it at the state level, but the important thing to remember is that it would still be illegal at the federal level, and this would create...
It'd be illegal at the federal level?
It's illegal at the federal level currently, and this I-1068 would do nothing to change that.
Okay, and how do you and your organization feel about 1068?
Well, I guess speaking for me personally, I don't know if I even with my organization, but I don't think it's good. Having friends that have like been introduced to marijuana and have like started using it consistently, that can definitely see a change in their like attitude and like their work ethic in school. I just don't think that it would be a positive influence for society.
What do you think? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, I think that removing the sort of criminal veil that's surrounding marijuana right now will allow us to put more money into research and educating the community about, the actual long-term effects of using marijuana.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you then a follow-up question. What do you think is the difference between, alcohol? Alcohol is legal and it's, it's restricted on who can use it at what age, and marijuana is similar, but it's illegal for everyone. So what do you say is the difference? Like, why do you draw a line between?
Just because I think that like even comparing it to like cigarettes, I guess like cigarettes are worse, I guess, for people long term.
Than what?
But than marijuana, I guess studies have shown, or from what I've seen. But it seems like with the laws that are in place, they're trying to push away like the usage of cigarettes and just smoking in general. Like you can only smoke in like certain places, so it seems like they're trying to cut down smoking as much as possible. Like even introduce marijuana as like this is legal now, then like it just seems like it poses another problem.
So if there's like public health movements to decrease smoking, it wouldn't make sense to then work in the opposite direction with legalization?
Yes.
Would you guys?
Yeah, I would respond to say that it's also not necessarily smoking marijuana that we're legalizing the substance. And so there's plenty of ways to consume that substance, tinctures in brownies or cookies, vaporizing even. So.
I would respond to the initial question by saying that there's really very little difference between the prohibition of marijuana and alcohol in terms of the effects on society. During Prohibition, you saw alcohol being made much less safe by being cut with additives such as antifreeze, which killed more people than the alcohol itself would have. You see similar issues with marijuana today. You saw Al Capone gun down dozens of people in the St. Valentine's Day massacre, and today the cartels in Mexico have a nasty habit of leaving heads in coolers.
Okay, I'm gonna have to interrupt you so we can move on to the next one. You sometimes hear about older people getting caught for marijuana possession, and like I have a story that I read that the headline goes, "Woman, 94, caught at border with pot strapped to her body." And like I've seen in the news lately, like the Washington State group that's been active with 1068, Grandmas for Ganja, and they've been speaking out. Why do you think there's so much media attention for older pot users, and do you think it's good, bad, or red?
I am the University District Coordinator for Initiative 1068, so I've been personally out there collecting signatures from a lot of different people. No barriers at all between race, sex, or age.
This was really considered a radical kind of youth thing back, in the 50s and 60s, and that was half a century ago. So, the counterculture of yesterday has kind of become the establishment of today in a lot of ways.
Thanks so much to everybody for joining us here today. I'm Lara O'Neill-Dunne, and we'll see you next time on The Good, the Bad, and the Rad.
Wow, that's a really interesting topic. Now we'll hear about Uganda's Invisible Children and what students are doing about the issue.
So Invisible Children is a nonprofit. We're based out of San Diego, and what we do is show documentaries about a conflict in East Africa where one man named Joseph Kony is abducting children and forcing them to fight in wars. This is our 10th national tour, and this is the first time that Ugandans like Jacob and Peace have been able to come over and advocate for themselves instead of just us doing it for them.
I came for an event which was called the Global Night Commute, and I was taken to Chicago. Thousands of Americans slept outside demonstrating what was going on in Uganda. And this really helped because your government got concerned and they had to pressure my government, and they made sure that it ended.
I'd always wanted to find an organization that I would use to reach out to my people and help to redevelop the area.
After I graduated from the level of primary, and then the rebel came into our village and they abducted 14 of us. And then when they took me, I felt like that was really weird because fighting is not the only way of solving problems. It is instead creating more problems.
Currently, the LRA disarmament bill is, I believe, on the House floor right now. And basically what we were doing in the organization was also trying to lobby politicians, our representatives here in Washington State, to go ahead and co-sign the bill.
We're just waiting on that vote within the next couple weeks. And then it'll be on Obama's desk, and he's expected to sign off on it. So it's really exciting. This is the farthest that legislation has gone for this issue.
We've been contacting a whole bunch of congressmen and representatives, and we're actually lucky enough to go and lobby Congressman Reichert, tell him about everything we were doing, and by the end of the meeting we're actually able to get him to co-sign the bill.
People don't know that this is happening, and it's been going on longer than I've been alive. This is a humanity problem, and we can get involved. And University of Washington is one of the most influential colleges in the country. People funnel money here. People come from all over the country to get into this campus. And I think that if we can get this campus on board with helping out with rescuing these child soldiers, a lot could happen. And I mean, you can do things here to help something that's going on 6,000 miles away.
We are surviving because these people who are working with us, they are volunteering. They are not being paid. So what they normally get is we always sell the t-shirt you see around, and then the DVDs, and the money is 50% is helping us with our daily work, and then 50% goes to Northern Uganda to help people. So when we talk to you, you have when you tell a friend, that is a very big thing in my life, because you have told someone and the person will not keep quiet again, you will spread it more, so many people will get to know.
So there are multiple ways that you can get involved with Invisible Children. One, you can buy a cool t-shirt like this one, and the proceeds go to a general fund that then is distributed into the different programs in Uganda. You can also buy bracelets and DVDs to help spread awareness, but also funnel money back to the programs on the ground in Uganda. Also, students can write letters to congressmen. We're trying to pass a bill, and Congressman Norm Dix is one of the representatives that if he signs on to this bill, it can get passed a lot faster.
If anyone wants to change the world in any part of the continent or in any part of the world in general, you should do that through education.
All right, well, that's it for this week's episode.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you right back here next week on the Daily's Double Shot.